All right, hey everybody, welcome in to our Saturday special. I am joined, as I usually am, by David Cohn. No, he's not the center for Purdue, even though he's like 8 foot tall. And then my brother Blaine, who's also not the center for Purdue, but he's not nearly as tall as what Cohn is. And Cohn, we're talking some March Madness top overall seeds. Why don't you play a little point guard? And why don't you get out of your element?
Okay.
Get out of the paint.
You don't know that I'm out of my element as a point guard.
I'm just saying, we're going to find out.
Don't try and put me in the post like my middle school coach.
I'm not trying to generalize you. I'm not trying to height-to-tize you.
Look, here's what I want to accomplish today, all right? Okay. Selection Sunday, we'll find out more tomorrow, and next week, we'll know even more in terms of the March Madness seeding and brackets. But today, I have the top 3 projected seeds. Okay. What I want to know from y'all is who has the juice to go all the way and who is fraudulent. Do you want to start with the 1 seeds or do you want to start with the 3 seeds and work your way up?
Let's start with the 3 seeds and work our way up. I do want to say this, though, before we put on the scuba gear and dive down and really look around and find out what's going on. This year is so much different than last year. We talked about it on the show a little bit Friday, in that there are way more teams that have a chance to win it this year because there really hasn't been that elite or those couple of elite teams that have separated themselves from the pack of college basketball. Last year, we knew that Baylor and Gonzaga were the 2 best teams. That wasn't the argument. Mm-hmm. The argument was who was better, Baylor or Gonzaga. This year, it is wide open spaces, Dixie Chick style, trying to find out who is playing the best with the most weapons, with the most quality depth. Not that you just play a lot of people, but you play enough people that give you the best chance to win and you don't lose too much when you take those starting guys out and you get a line shift, as they say, or a line change in hockey. So I think going into it this year, it's a whole heck of a lot more fun because you really don't know the end of the movie, or at least getting close to the end. You get to watch it from the beginning to the end and let it write itself.
No doubt. I agree with that. And look, a lot's happening in real time. We're going to find out more information even tonight. But right now, the projected 3 seeds are Purdue, Villanova, Tennessee, and Texas Tech. We've talked about all these teams for the last few months. Mm-hmm. Who do you like out of that group? Okay, and who maybe is a little fraudulent?
I'll start with fraudulent, and maybe fraudulent's too strong of a word, but Purdue worries me. As much as we've gassed up Jaden Ivey, we've talked about the 2 things from Mordor they got running around down low, especially Zach Edey, who's, tall enough to change the light bulbs at Madison Square Garden for a living if this doesn't work out, still associated with basketball. But defensively, Purdue worries me. We've seen it. You would think with all that talent in a Big Ten that I think a little bit overrated, I would say the 3rd best conference in college basketball this year.
The Big Ten?
Yeah.
You think they're 3rd?
I think
not
it's
second?
SEC, Big 12. I think you could make more logical arguments for the SEC and the Big 12 than you could for the Big Ten. To me, Purdue, I think they've underachieved a little bit with the players they have. I mean, Jaden Ivey's as good as anybody in college basketball. You look at an inside-out game, and that's not the only guy they have. Stefanovic, is a wizard, is a Hogwarts graduate when he gets it going. He looks like he's 40 years old as well. Yeah. But I think Purdue defensively worries me. They remind me a little bit of Iowa with Garza last year. They can shoot the lights out when they're hot. They can score 100 points, but they also give up 100 points. I tell you, and I don't want to beat a dead horse because I've talked about it a lot. Texas Tech, man. When you get into this style of basketball, tournament style of basketball, you're not going to shoot great the whole time. You may run into a game where you can't hit the ocean if you fell out of a helicopter in the middle of the Pacific. But Texas Tech defensively, and I know they've been kind of up and down a little bit, but Mark Adams, I'm a huge Mark Adams guy. I think Texas Tech, with what they do, suits, you look at O'Banner, the transfer from Oral Roberts, some of the other guys they've got on that team from a defensive standpoint, the way they're able to communicate, the way they're able, I think their trap is unbelievably effective. I just think defense and rebounding, especially defensive rebounding, holding other teams to one shot, one and done. I like Texas Tech. And look, Tennessee, they've been coming on.
That's who I was going to take as, a team that is a real sleeper to me is Tennessee. I mean, and you go back to kind of Purdue. That's why Purdue scares me one of the most, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be hitting all your shots every game. And what can great teams do?
Win in
multiple ways. And I've seen Purdue lose those games when they're not hitting shots. I watched a game maybe last week where it's the first time I've ever seen Jaden Ivey realistically question his shot.
I saw that.
Or what he's seen.
Yep.
And you saw a Purdue team like that. Well, I haven't seen Jaden do that the entire year. That scared me more than any game I've watched this entire year for Purdue. If that starts happening, Purdue's in trouble because they don't play defense. But Tennessee, they've won in multiple ways. All right, great. I know they've been unbelievable at home, but they won them all. Beat Auburn when neither team was shooting good.
Yep.
Won in multiple ways. And they have guys. They got Vescovy, Kennedy Chandler, like these, Isaiah James Jordan, like these guys who can do it. Who effort, not a question. With Tennessee, they're going to go get it. Do they shoot well all the time? No. Are they a bad shooting team? I don't think so. They can win in multiple ways, and they have an identity. When you watch Tennessee, you can see the sets they run. You can see what they like to do. Fulkerson for them is huge.
Well, he's got to be confident enough to take shots. To me, when I watch Tennessee, you talked about Triple J, Josiah Jordan James. He's been a huge starter for them, but Ziegler offensively starting to figure it out and being somewhat of a threat from the three-point line with the defense that he plays. Tennessee, to me, knows who they are. That's a lot about being a March. That's why I like Tech. And then Villanova. I hate to not talk, Code, about Villanova because they're the model of consistency. It's like Bruce Lee said. So they're like water.
On the Purdue front, I still think the Big Ten is the second best conference in basketball
in front of the Big 12?
But in front of the Big 12. But last year, I thought they were the best conference in college basketball, and they got embarrassed come tournament time.
Yeah.
If that happens again, we're going to have to start having some serious conversations with the Big Ten. I was very bullish on Purdue a few weeks ago. I've lost a little bit of confidence, but what I really still like about them, obviously I think Jaden Ivey is one of the best players in the country. Zach Edey is phenomenal, but when you take Zach Edey off the floor, Travion Williams is just as good to me. You don't lose anything. Different players, better on the offensive end in the passing game, but still he plays good defense. So if Zach Edey were to get into foul trouble, you have another big who can come in and really spell him, whereas some teams like if Walker Kessler gets in trouble, that's a bigger loss to me. So I like a lot of things about Purdue. I really don't understand how they don't play better defense, but we're going to find out more. Tennessee and Villanova are really interesting to me in that they can switch 1 through 5, which is a big help. You can switch 1 through 5, and they gang rebound, especially Tennessee. They gang rebound so well. My question about Villanova has been, and we saw it last night.
Can I guess? Interior,
well, when they don't have a great shooting night, what do they do? Which was last night, Blaine.
Villanova has lived and died on the 3-ball. They shoot the second most team with 3-point shot attempts. They live and die by it. I love senior guards. Gillespie, Moore, they're great players.
They win.
That's the experience and comes in with your guard play. But down low, questionable at best.
Samuels Jr.
Don't have a true big. They surprising me. I thought I was in inception. They didn't shoot the free throws that well.
Yeah.
I didn't know I knew I wasn't going to hit that bet when I saw Gillespie miss 2 free throws.
Yeah.
I was like, it's done. Oh, it's done. Something's wrong.
By the way, can I say this one of the 2 seeds? Eric Stevens from South Carolina, I did not know this last night, is 59 of 60. Their season's over now. End of the year, 59 of 60 from the free throw line.
Wow.
That's 98%. I never made that on a test, and I'm talking about like PE and stuff.
That's wild. So, we'll move on to the 2 seeds, but I really want to see if Tennessee can travel. They've been so good at home. I want to see if they can travel because
Barnes
it can be a problem, man. All right, projected 2 seeds right now, okay? Auburn, Kentucky, Duke, and Wisconsin. Who do you really like out of that group, and who should people be looking down and saying, I don't know?
It's tough to look at Auburn right now and feel super confident about them, but I could say the same thing about Duke, and I could say the same thing about Wisconsin. You look at Kentucky with Sheboy. I mean, to me, Auburn has a very high ceiling, but they're not a high IQ basketball team. They shoot themselves out of games. I mean, take Texas A&M, for example, yesterday. You're huge compared to A&M. But you got Katie Johnson going 0 for 14. The guard play, man. And we said it till we're blue in the face. Auburn has too many heroes and not enough sidekicks. They don't make adjustments. If they're playing bad one game, they're just going to play bad the whole time. You'll hit some crazy shots at the end maybe with Wendell Green and Jabari Smith, but they don't adjust well. It's hard for me to trust you. Now, will you probably see it hurt them in the first round with who they play? No, because Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith are going to be so much better. Auburn's going to be so much faster and be bigger. But you run into a team in the second round like a Marquette or somebody like that is scrappy and rough and tough and is high basketball IQ, Auburn get beat. They don't play smart. They play hero ball too much. They've got the talent to win the whole thing, which makes them scary. And if they're shooting good, they're really hard to beat. But they're not a high IQ basketball team. Wisconsin, one of the worst shooting teams in the Big Ten. They live or die with Johnny Davis. Brad Davidson's been pretty good. I don't think they're very physically tough down low. I don't think that lasts in the tournament because Johnny Davis, some nights he'll score 30 points, will take 60 shots. So that one game where Johnny Davis isn't hitting and Wisconsin scores 57 points, can somebody sneak up on them in the second round? Maybe the first round if they're not playing well? Yeah, I don't believe in Wisconsin, nearly as much as a lot of other people do, especially when they were clamoring for them to hit the one line. And I know they lost the other night without Johnny Davis to Nebraska, I believe. But Nebraska had been playing better, even though they absolutely blew it like a balloon the other night in the tournament, letting that lead get erased by Northwestern, I believe it was. Then you look at Duke. We've talked about them. They don't have that guy. They don't have the lead singer. They don't have their lead singer. Mm-hmm. They got a bunch of guys in the background who are, it's like Hanson. It's like, that's
beautiful.
Just a bunch of guys from Hanson. I don't think it lasts. If they were to make it to the Elite Eight, I'd be surprised because Banchero called John Walsh. Where is he? 188 missing. We don't know. Really, man, give me the 4 teams one more time, Kevin.
Yeah, I was going to say them: Auburn, Kentucky, Duke, and Wisconsin.
I believe in Kentucky the most of that group.
Go ahead, Blaine. Tell us about Kentucky.
I've been on the Kentucky train. I think there's the most complete team and the most consistent team, and that's consistency is really hard to find right now in NCAA basketball. It is. And fraudulent team to me would be Auburn. I mean, the thing about Wisconsin is at least Wisconsin knows who they are, right?
That's
Wisconsin looks in the mirror and Johnny Davis pops up and says, "It's you. You're our guy."
Mirror on the wall.
Duke knows who they are by committee. That's who they are. But Duke will somewhat try to play to their matchups. They will. Syracuse game, they worked it down low. Syracuse was shooting the lights out, but still won the game. And Auburn, and it's so confusing to me because you have so much talent. And I think they're still one of the most dangerous teams.
I agree.
And the most dangerous teams that can be in the tournament. But it's just the same mistakes after the same mistakes after the same mistakes. They don't play to matchups, right? You said it. Walker Kessler was the biggest thing in that arena today. They didn't work the ball inside. I still see the same guys taking shots that they shouldn't take. I wish, and I bet a lot of Auburn fans wish, they would treat Jamari Smith like they treat Johnny Davis in Wisconsin. Get him the ball. He's going to get picked first in the draft. He's pretty good at the whole basketball thing. The guard play has been atrocious. They're not a great shooting team. If I were to pick a team to slip up against somebody, it's Auburn, because it's not because the team that they're playing is better than Auburn. It's because Auburn keeps finding ways to lose games.
Yeah. And the Auburn's like that science experiment when they're like, all right, we're going to pour this into that. We have no idea what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Either it's going to go really good or really bad. Yeah. And that just doesn't last in the NCAA tournament. They could go on a big run, but until they become a smarter basketball team, it's insanity. It's doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different.
2 weeks ago, we were looking at Kentucky and saying, well, they're just not the same without Ty Washington, and there's no way he can stay healthy for a 6-game stretch, right? And we were looking at Auburn, and we were saying, they're just resting a lot of guys. They're resting the legs. They're playing a lot of guys, trying to get the momentum right. Well, 14 days later, and here we are. Kentucky has been able to prove themselves with or without Ty, and Auburn hasn't seemed to build that momentum that you really do need to win it all in March. But I'm conflicted because I still think they have the best front court in the country, bar none. And if they can limit turnovers, they can beat
gotta get them the ball,
anyone.
David.
They can beat anyone.
They can have the two best players in the world. Whoever plays, they don't give them the ball.
Limit turnovers. Do this with Jabbar Smith. At what point do you figure it out? Like, at what point do you actually do it?
I think they only had.
It's amazing they have the record they do. That shows you how talented they are.
I believe they only had 7 or 8 turnovers today. Oh, and them had like 15 or 16.
But it's guys saying, all right, it's not my night, KD Johnson. You're 0 of 10. By this point, ball's not going in the basket, bud. And I'm all for staying confident. If you're wide open, shoot it. But Auburn forces it. That's what I'm saying. They play hero ball. They don't really play team ball. And Blaine was talking about that on the show. But let's move on to the one seeds.
1 seeds.
Me.
Gonzaga. Gonzaga. Arizona. Kansas. And Baylor. I have a feeling I know where this conversation's going.
Okay, for the 95th time, I don't think Gonzaga makes it past the Sweet 16. I'm going to say that again. YouTube, the world, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whoever's listening, aliens. Gonzaga will not make it past the Sweet 16. Not because Mark Few is not a really good coach. What he's done at Gonzaga has been amazing. He's a Wizard of Oz, man. He followed the yellow brick road, figured it out. Schnozberries taste like schnozberries up there in Spokane. So, but this team is not last year's Gonzaga team. They had a lot more pieces. Jalen Suggs, NBA guard. Nembhard is good. But what do we always say? It's like a beer fest. It's Shiwa. It's a strawberry beer. It's just good. I get it. Chet Holmgren is 7'1", but he's not going to be bully balling all those guys and just running down the court untouched and dunking on these guys like the kids they played the other night with volleyball lines on the court. And I know they played somewhat of a tougher schedule early, but when Gonzaga faces athletic guards, I need y'all to look at me. Let's vibe. When Gonzaga faces athletic guards and teams that can run and teams that aren't afraid to bang with them, Drew Timme can't hide behind the guys he hid behind last year and let him play off of them at the 4 and 5. It's him. It's him down there. He gets bullied by strong athletic guys. They can run up and down if you don't fall for the pump fake. I'm telling you guys right now, Gonzaga will not make it past the Sweet 16. Baylor, struggle offensively sometimes. If Akinjo's cooking, Cryer, we know his foot's been messed up. I can go down the list. Flagler, got some witch in him, but they're not the Baylor team. Losing every day, John, and having to say, okay, Flo Thamba, you're the guy down there. We'll see. And then Kansas, there's not a dominant team in this. I think all four of those could we have a Final Four that doesn't have a 1 seed in it? I think we could.
I mean, I would Arizona is the best team.
I would say, like I said earlier, to me is the most complete team, but still got to injury the point guard position.
Sounds like he
sprained ankle. He'll be back.
Well, sprained ankle, that sucks in basketball.
Yeah, I know, but
is it high or low?
Hopefully he'll be back.
It says initial signs are promising, but
I hope so. Yeah. I hope they're
sprained ankles suck all around, especially.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they got a guy from Narnia waiting to come on Twitch. They've already got one from every continent.
2022, he probably already has a new ankle.
Like, hey, yeah, we have our Siberian.
Yeah, but the thing about Arizona is, one, they play so well together, and they're a type of team they don't look to shoot first.
Yeah.
No individual. They pass. That ball is rolling. They're rolling. They'll play to the hot hand, and they're all in sync. The chemistry with these guys are over the roof, and they're all from different continents. That's the crazy thing about it. It's like they've been playing with each other forever.
Situation.
Right? You can watch this team, and even if you're a normal fan of somewhat basketball, I'm like, well, that's how it's supposed to look. Right? I look at Kansas, still don't believe it. I believe in Kansas more than I believe in Gonzaga. Baylor.
I don't think you're crazy on that.
Baylor. It's really hit or miss with Baylor. Either they're shooting. What scares me about Baylor is the defense isn't the same. And that's what frustrates me the most. The defense is not.
Well, I mean, Davion Mitchell's one of the best college guards defensively I've ever seen. Yeah. He also had the greatest nickname, Off Night. That's so far.
Yeah, that is. But if it was me and I was picking a 1 seed, I mean, it'd be Arizona.
Yeah,
I think it'd be close.
Arizona, without a doubt, could win this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Other than that, I think they're the only team out of the 1 seeds that can win this whole thing. I don't see Baylor going back to back. Okay. I've seen enough now from Kansas, and with Gonzaga, they're a really good basketball team. I think part of my frustrations are everyone else's expectations of Gonzaga. Oh, they're the clear number one. They're the greatest basketball team. They'll probably win it all. What are you seeing from them that makes you think they'll probably win it all? I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying if they played in the SEC or if they played in the Big 12 or 10, they wouldn't be the number 1 overall seed.
I agree 100% with that. I think that's the best way to put it. But look, it's going to be a heck of a selection Sunday. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Make sure you turn on that notification bell. You can hear that ring whenever we drop new heat. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, thedailywire.com. Become a member. Got some great stuff popping over there. Enjoy your weekend. And like the teams that are off the bubble, once they announce it tomorrow, we're gone.